Hammer! And let's slip the dogs of war.
A 1, 2, 3.
Gonna walk that promenade, yeah, we're gonna rock that promenade, be the talk of that promenade, looking for a star drifter, not a shapeshifter, lots to do and more to see, sweet sticks from a jump tree, oh oddities, opportunities, free advice but not for cheapo gambling wheels, shaded deals, meet me back here tomorrow, please. Walk that promenade. Yeah, we're gonna rock that promenade.
Hello and good evening for this Monday, May 6, 2024, Star Trek DS9, Season 7, Episode 24, The Dogs of War is over, and it has been for almost exactly 25 years. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast for our review of this episode. We're going to be breaking it all down, talking all about it, and giving it a rating at the end. I'm Dave Mader. We're here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. And here's the guy who's not sure if he's an overgrown child or just very confused. It's Kevin Millard.
I am definitely both.
Okay. Right. And here's the guy who just found out what he'll find out when he doesn't attend the staff meetings. It's Adam Woodward.
I'm curious now.
Yes. Well, there might be a new ship.
Oh, the new ship.
The old ship. Yeah. So,
yep.
Yeah. That was what he said. He's like, that's what happens when you miss the staff meetings. You're not going to know what's coming up.
That's what happens when you miss staff meetings.
I thought you may have called a different staff meeting, Dave, that we didn't
know. No, I was just referencing the staff meeting where they found out, I guess they were getting a new Defiant class ship to replace the old one. Remember the one I was sad about?
Yep. Yeah. Well, you got it back.
Well, not really. A new one.
Is it?
It's got new carpet.
Okay.
At the very least. So if you're watching us live here, you can leave a comment or a question. Let us know what you think about this episode. Of course, we got Norman with us, Rom Vernegas. Yes, and this is the episode where Rom became the Grand Negus. But a lot of other things happen. A lot happens in this episode. A lot, actually. It's kind of the penultimate episode, even though it's technically not, but it kind of is, because the next one is a two-parter. And so this is kind of really setting up and setting the table for the finale in a lot of ways. Wrapping up, I guess, whatever they wanted to with the characters that they didn't maybe think they could fit in the finale, or they needed to set up with the finale. So, a lot to break down. I have to start with Adam first, as he's fresh on this episode. Although I'm sure you knew some of this stuff, like you probably have, had an idea that Rom was the Negus and that kind of stuff had happened. But maybe not. I don't know.
Treat me like a baby. It was all new to me yesterday. It was great. I quite like this episode a lot. Last week I was humming and hawing about that one, but I'm feeling good about this one. Right into this one.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit going on in it. I don't think you can call it boring, but maybe no. Kevin will. Kevin, is this boring?
Nope, it's a great episode.
A little bit of battle, Kevin, just a little bit.
That's fine. A little bit is okay. I'm not anti-battles. Just a little bit is good. I love the Damar speech and all of that. Like his character arc is one of my favorites through this series. From absolute like goon villain to this freedom
drunk,
yeah,
drunk,
to this
murderer.
Freedom fighter. It's really good, and Kira's grudging respect at the end. They show that. It's, good. It's really good.
Yeah, but he did kill Torziel.
Yeah, he's not good. They're never going to be friends.
Yeah. But yes, let's break down here, guys. Yeah, so Damar, there's the quite a bit here with Odo in this episode, and him kind of giving heck to the Federation for Section 31's role in creating the changeling virus. And now that Bashir has invented the cure, they're not going to give it to them.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
I think they might even use it to their advantage and hang it over. Stop attacking us, maybe.
Apparently the founders don't roll like that. They're unyielding in their desire to conquer the entire galaxy. Even if they're gonna die, like, I don't know, it seems like they would make that deal, but
like Cisco says he doesn't condone it, but I'm like, motherfucker, you sure do. This is a layup for you, like,
right. yeah
and he makes excuses for them not giving it to the founders now, so that's condoning it.
I think there's a lot of like, one thing about the Federation in wartime, there's a lot of questioning the values of what we've learned the Federation's about.
Right. Yeah. Like, and this idea of, do they really live up to this morality that they preach, right? And I think you can draw a lot of comparisons to a lot of Western countries, in particular the United States, and having sort of this saying one thing and maybe doing another thing in their foreign policy. And I think that's kind of maybe what they were paralleling here. This is 25 years ago, but has it really changed? Not really.
Nope. These episodes are just as apropos as they were then. They are now. It's
even more
the same themes. Yep.
Even if not more so, because I'm trying to think of how the world was different back then, how you saw things different back then, but like, it's hard to really sign off on it. What else, guys? Ezri and Bashir, they finally got together.
I want to say thank God it's over now, but it's still annoying.
I don't know. Yeah.
I can't believe they spent that much time on it, honestly. But
the thing that I found really jarring was they, right after the whole scene with Damar and rallying all the civilians and that really amazing speech, and then we go right from that to them standing awkwardly in the hallway, just the two of them quietly. It's jarring.
They put so much effort into selling this relationship to us, and I don't get it. Like, when I look back on it now, I'm like there's other things to focus on, and I like, how like at the end of Voyager they hooked up Chakotay and 7 of 9 because apparently Robert Beltran said, I never got any cool love stories or something, whatever he complained about. I part of me wonders if this was to appease somebody or something in this final season. But Adam, you have a thought there?
I did. Guys, did you do we ever get a chance to really care about Ezri? She had a lot of episodes, a lot of screen time for sure this season, but I don't have anything invested in her. I don't care about her too much as a character. I really.
Well, yeah, like, I find that I am a little bit, I think that the episode in particular where they were back on her planet and they were dealing with her family, I think did a lot.
Well, that was a good episode, sure. Yeah.
It established a lot for me in terms of, like, she's a real person from, whatever, has like this family. And that part was good, but I don't know, like this romance in particular, it just feels like it's like they're trying to race to the finish, even though they have 26 episodes and it's kind of a lot of time to do it. But it's I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on it because they did, but it's a big part of the story.
With their whole thing, I would have liked it more if they had acted like adults, like if they had written these characters like adults rather than like teenagers who can't express themselves and who can't, like, it's just irritating, their whole relationship.
It doesn't even track for me, like, at all. So it's just I think they were trying to be cute. I just don't know if it necessarily worked. the only other storyline I think we need to touch on before we kind of maybe run through everything is that there's a Cisco a bun in the oven, if you will. Paprikash might be involved. Cassidy Yates, Preggers with Captain Cisco's baby. How you guys feel about that? Okay,
30 seconds of screen time.
I never got the point.
Well, I think I guess the idea was that, this would be a big sacrifice for Cisco, and I don't want to spoil what's going to come next here, Adam, but
please don't. Yeah, but here, okay, sure. I don't know. I right now, Dave, I don't care at this point because I don't know what's coming next. Maybe next week I'll be able to link it together.
Yeah, well, I think that we have a lot to break down next week and how they're going to leave things, and this is part of it. This is part of it. So, and the fact that there was no revisit after the finale. There hasn't been 25 years later so far. Any kind of
so he's like Jake. Then the new kid's like Jake. You never see him again.
Pretty much,
even more or less. They might have the same amount of screen time. Who's to say? So, but okay. So anyway, get through all that. But yeah, the other thing, just back on Ezri, I think that, I keep thinking about in Discovery, Adam, how we have Adira Tal, and how that character has had almost no reference to having a symbiote or having to pass lives or having all this experience, and I feel like Ezri lacks a lot of that too, but maybe not as much as Adira. I feel like we've kind of completely forgotten that Adira is joined, because Adira doesn't have spots. Adira is human. So I don't know. That's not a Discovery podcast, but I don't know. I can't help but compare those characters. So and we're watching that here in the same year. Anyway, let's get into it. So the episode starts off with Cisco and O'Brien are pacing. This is no way to start a new relationship. I couldn't remember what this was exactly at first, and then I thought it was is Cassidy Yates coming back? We see the awkwardness between Ezri and Julian, and we see that Worf and O'Brien and all the other people who work at Deep Space Nine, are gossiping about it, but in particular them. I don't know. I guess what part of what they were trying to do was recover from the fact that Terry Farrell left the show. I feel like that's part of the reason they did this storyline too. Right? That Worf and Jadzia was such a popular couple and it had done so well in the show. And then that, of course, that's all undone. And so they sort of need this to sort of make up for it. I don't know. But
do you know what I think they could have done? A way they could have done it better. I really started to like Ezri more after the Worf and her stuff was over and they were just actual friends. Mm-hmm. If they had moved that up in the season and then just had them have a friendship on the station as a way to introduce her character, way better. Better
Worf and Ezri specifically, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is true here of all, Worf and Jadzia were there was teases that they were going to be romantic, but they're friends first. Same with Tom Paris and B'Elanna, friends. I guess the only exception, I guess, is Riker and Troy, who were kind of they had this existing relationship before that we ever met them. But it's mostly I think these if you're gonna do a couple, I'm fine with it, but it doesn't need to be forced, and I don't need there to be so much emphasis on it, But
and I don't need it at the end of the fucking
at the end of the show with a character you just brought in at the end. Anyway, so but that aside, we see that whoever she is here, and there she is, the USS Sao Paulo, as we'll find out. I didn't know we were getting another Defiant class ship, they say, or Ezri says, and that's what happens when you miss the staff meetings. So we see the docking here, the registry plaque here, NCC 75633, named for the people of Brazil. Sorry, people of Brazil, not going to last.
What's that one in the bottom there? Patrick Henry? I can't read it.
It says, "Give me liberty or give me death." Patrick Henry.
That's weird.
It is weird.
That it's associated with Brazil and then has that quote on it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I don't get it. Anyway, Admiral Ross is giving over the ship to Cisco. You are required to take command of this vessel, which he does, of course. I think O'Brien and Bashir talk about hating the carpet, which I'll show in a wide shot here in a minute. There's the carpet.
Happy they're getting a ship.
Yeah, like, did they have to destroy the old ship? That's what I say. Is it was still worth it, guys, to you? Like that moment?
Yeah, it was always worth it. It's just a ship.
But guys, like,
you know what?
They got
They
a new
always
one now.
replace them, Dave. They always replace them.
Let's think about this for a minute, though, because like they put the Defiant into that fleet museum that Jody runs, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the Defiant; it's this Defiant, which is only in 2, maybe 3 episodes, and this episode doesn't even do anything. This ship, other than be like a nothing,
Well, it's just not this ship, but the other one got destroyed.
So I think they should have not destroyed the Defiant at all.
Well, Norman agrees with you.
Rather lose the Defiant than zero. Yeah, I'm with you, Norman.
Well, actually,
As long as this ship doesn't have some kind of love affair with another ship where they awkwardly can't tell each other how they feel, I'll be okay with the change.
The other thing I don't like is that they renamed the ship Defiant.
That's silly.
It's bad luck to rename a ship. Also, to bring up Star Trek Picard in season 3, they renamed the Titan as the Enterprise. Also dumb. Yeah, I'm with you, Norman. Bad news, bad luck, bad tradition.
I don't really like the name Sao Paulo either, though. So, this is the starship Sao Paulo. It doesn't really roll.
They could have picked any name they wanted. They could have called it, they could even if they called it the Defiant A. I think that maybe I would have loved it that.
Maybe since they had the quote from Patrick Henry, she should have called it the Independence or something. But I'm sure that's
okay. Right. I don't know. We'll see if that comes up in fun facts how we got there. But basically, it's the same set, but a new carpet and a new. The chair is colored purple, so just keep that. Defiant is the truth, but you can't rename a ship, Davan. You can, but it's bad luck. Anyway, moving on. Let's check in with Damar and Kira and Garrick and all them. They're in the Jemadar ship they stole a couple episodes ago, and they leave the Cardassian guy here, who was played by the same guy who played Admiral Forrest on Enterprise. They leave him in command here as they beam down to check out the Resistance. But when they beam down to the Resistance, they find out that all the Resistance are being slaughtered. The Cardassian Resistance is being massacred by the Jemadar. And we find out that there's this other this Cardassian gull who betrayed them basically and sold them out, and they got their entire movement got wiped out in an instant. They try to beam up to with Gull or this other guy they left, the Admiral Forrest Cardassian, but he's got his hands full up in space with the Jemadar, who are blowing the hell out of him in orbit, and now they're kind of stuck on the planet. So they're on Cardassia, I guess, right? So that's where they're. So it's now we got Kira, Garrick, and Damar all marooned on Cardassia, and the Resistance has been wiped out. That's our title. That's our teaser. Pretty good. Can't say nothing happened. Then after the credits, our title card, the Dogs of War, great name. We also see here that worth pointing out that Jeffrey Combs was busy in this episode as he played both Weyoun and Brunt.
Sitting for a long time in that makeup chair.
Yeah, and different makeups, I'm sure he had a week. So the Resistance, Kira and Damar, Garrick, they all head over to Mila, the old housekeeper of Anabrantain, Garrick's illegitimate father, who we're all reminded of all this backstory and sort of this like conversation they have coming in. It's this basement under Anabrantain's house. We had met her before, Mila. She had, when Nabrantain went missing, I think she called him Garrick to find him. I always thought, is she Garrick's mother? Maybe, but
I think she is in that. I think they say that I don't know if the book's probably not canon, but in that autobiography, I think he says his mother is Mila.
Yeah, and it seems like she's either his real mother or his surrogate mother in some way. So very significant, but it's never explicitly implied because Garrick's got this sort of nebulous backstory that he's never fully explained.
Yeah.
And I like how she's like, yeah, I'm too old for to be a revolutionary, whatever. I don't care about such things, but I'll get you a commune. I'll help you guys as much as I can, but I don't really care about the cause. And I just want to mention the episode directed by Avery Brooks as well. Neela was in The Wire. She was in The Wire. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know it's canon. It doesn't mean I don't like it.
There's uniforms that Dave doesn't like either. That doesn't change anything.
Neither of Garrick's parents were his parents. I'm assuming you're referring to the novel that Andrew Robinson wrote. Not canon. So anyway, but Neela puts them into cleaning up this dirty basement. I guess is while they've got nothing else to do here on Gardessia. Stitch in Time novel is canon. Says who? Davan, just come in if you want to have a conversation. I can't keep up with your comments. All right. So then we got Bashir and Odo. You just admitted it was canon? No, I didn't. I just read your comment. Stop it. He's kidding me. Anyway, so Bashir explains to Odo that he was deliberately infected by Section 31 to be a carrier and to, abet genocide and all these other things. And Odo not too impressed, and I can't blame him. Bashir doesn't have any good explanations either. So then Odo goes to Cisco, and Cisco's like, yeah, what they talked about it. They thought about giving the cure to the founders, but they said, we can't strengthen their hand right now. It's not a good time, So,
do you ever feel like Bashir doesn't pick his times so well? Like you don't need Odo being upset right now. He didn't have to tell him this stuff.
Should this been classified and not told to him? I guess
I guess what's he seemed surprised by Odo's outburst. Pick your time. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Cisco's point of the founders started this war, the Dominion started this war, whatever, and there's millions of people dying in the war, and I think that you can debate the morality to an extent, but of course it's you have the crime of all crimes trumps everything, right? So it's there are people dying on all sides, and the founders, I think you should use it as leverage, or say, hey, you want the cure? Let's go to peace negotiations. Let's
but then you've become evil. You caused them to be dying, and now you're like, do what I say, or you're just gonna die.
Well, and Odo and Bashir and Cisco's point is Section 31's a rogue organization, and Odo's like, that's a nice little tidy distinction. You guys have a little tidy arrangement where, they can do all the bad, dirty work. And then you can just kind of claim, deniability, right? Like plausible deniability about the whole thing. And so the moral thing, of course, is just to give the cure. But nobody's going to do that without apparently orders. I guess Bashir and Cisco could go rogue and they probably give up their careers.
But the problem is they probably spend the rest of their lives in some kind of a jail for doing
right. So, but they would do the right thing. But I don't know. It's bad. And I think it's I don't know. I can see the look on Kevin's face every time he's like, yes, it is bad. And there's no excuse, and I will not excuse it under any circumstances. I'm like,
right.
Okay.
I'm glad my face says all of
it.
That.
It does.
This is just wartime Federation Starfleet that has to make excuses for what they do. But I mean, if you're at the end of the day, I just you can't justify it. You can't, whether it's Section 31 or not.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a natural disaster or someone else that did it. You did it.
Yeah.
You did
You're
it.
responsible.
So,
You're responsible.
yes.
So, but
Cisco, now that they know, Dave, now that they know, they're still continuing the policy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what's egregious about it, right? So, yeah. But and characters who are supposed to be incredibly moral aren't.
No, I don't mind so much if they take it and use it to get something out of it. Like, yeah, we'll give it to you, but you got to stop aggression,
killing us.
You got to back up.
Yeah, I think you could use it as a bargaining thing. I get that's also wrong, but it's also you're trying to save lives. All lives.
Yeah, it is tough because you want to be like, yeah, I'll give it to you if you stop, but we're talking about the elimination of an entire species,
right, which is unconscionable. But I don't know, Garrick tried to do it in season 4 and he only got 6 months in a holding cell,
right? So again, so the Federation does not take genocide seriously.
Yeah, they're not technically dead yet, so they're not it's attempted genocide, really. So
don't betray your uniform, though.
Don't betray your uniform. Is that on the thing?
He was a Union man.
Oh, it's a Union man. Okay. Let's talk about the Grand Nagus story and the Ferengi story of this all. As we catch in here at Quark's bar, where Rom's talking to Lita and this Daba girl whose name escapes me, but I don't think we met her before. But Jesus, this dress she wears in this episode is basically just a nylon with some things on it. I was like, whoa, that is pretty risque. Anyway, but they're debating about how much tips they give to Quark. Right now they give 20%, and 20%. they want to give 10. So they kind of work up the courage to go talk to Quark, who's distracted. He says he'll think about it, but then he gets a call from the Grand Nagus, and Lita and the Daba girl. Oh, he's got to think about it. We got a chance here of keeping more of our tips. So
the one thing that was interesting is that it seems like he had a relationship with her at the end of that episode.
Yeah. Well, you get the idea. I get sometimes the impression that Quark maybe does get around in terms of his sex life, more so than you think, more so than Bashir or some of these other guys. As we saw in Ryza, Quark was busy, and I think he maybe gets that on with the Daba girls too. The call from the Grand Nagus, Wallace Shawn, and I think what will be his last appearance, because I don't think he shows up in the finale. He says, "Hey, Quark, it's there's a lot of static here because I'm calling from Ferenginar. It's a bad signal, And basically, Zek says he's retiring as Grand Nagus, and he's going to come name his successor, and it's going to be him, Quark. He can't believe it, but it's bad static, and then that's kind of, he's like, wow, what a moment. So what did you think of this, Adam? Did you like the idea of Quark becoming the Grand Nagus?
Like any piece of good news, especially when it's not communicated well, you sit on that until you hear it or it's in writing. And unlike Quark goes back and blabs it to everybody, I'm the new Nagus, and things are underway after that happens. And it was the great part of this episode. Let's face it. Upon rewatch, he clearly says Rom twice, according to Davan. I'd like to see that. Also, really like to see Sean Wallace all the time. I love that guy. Right back to Princess Bride. The guy is fantastic.
He's the most Ferengi of the Ferengi for some reason to me, but
but I wasn't unhappy. At that point I was going, okay, this is good. And I missed the Rom thing there, Davan, but I like the idea, and I still like the way the outcome came anyway.
You like the turnabout, and then it ends up being Rom.
Yeah. I liked it all. I like this whole storyline. We haven't seen enough of this guy or Rom or any of them this whole season.
True. We've been busy with Ezri. Okay, so speaking of which, let's talk about her at the Replimat running into Bashir. Awkward teenage.
Putting this thing. Look at her putting her hair over her ear.
Yeah, he's such a cute boy. You know what? These two people who are clearly in their 30s, who can't seem to go on a date or whatever. They go to this jewelry shop at one point. I can't even remember what their conversation was about, but anyway,
who knows? I tune out. It's just so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, moving on. Then over with Quark here, where he's telling everybody the news about him becoming the Grand Nagus, and everyone's of course happy for him. Like Nog's here, and Rom, and the Daba girls, and the Ferengi waiters. And Quark's just reveling in this revelation. We see this Daba girl is definitely coming at him. He's got to get her a room looking over the Tower of Commerce in the capital. This look here from Lita, I like. He's going to take care of all his family, including his sister-in-law and his brave nephew. But then look who shows up. Brunt, FCA. And, Quark's greatest enemy, maybe, in the whole show. And he comes to grovel to Quark and kiss the ring and suck up to him as he will be the new boss, So.
And he says, keep doing it. I'm not your boss yet.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it, though. I'm good with this.
He's not the Negus yet. It's never too soon to suck up to the boss.
That's a rule of acquisition, I believe. Yeah. So Quark loving it. Then over on Cardassia, we see Weyoun, also played by Jeffrey Combs, giving this speech about how they've killed Damar, everyone. Guess what? We've wiped out the Cardassian resistance. Damar is dead too. And it's a great day for the Dominion. And they're pretty sad learning about all their bases, all this work that Kira and the Budge had been putting in over like however many weeks or months this had been. It's all kind of destroyed in a single swoop. And Damar's like, how could this have happened? We took every precaution. And Kira just kind of blows up and says, it doesn't matter how they did it. They're dead. Everyone's dead. Yeah. So the whole thing is wiped out. And all they can do now is sort of lick their wounds in this old, dirty basement, waiting to figure out what comes next. Then we go back to Deep Space Nine with Jeffrey Combs again, now doing a pedicure on Quark. In his quarters. And Quark has to pay taxes or something on the pedicure, I think. Or something like that. He's like, you can't be serious. We have free enterprise. There's no taxes. Brent explains that a lot's changed on Ferenginar. They now have like social programs and taxes and
hospitals.
And I guess it was all because of Moogie. Moogie is the one who got Zek to do all this. I was like,
taxes go against the very foundation of free enterprise. That's why it's called free.
That's why it's free. But Brent's like, yeah, there's been some reforms. And he's like, well, when I become Grand Nagus, I will get rid of all this. He's like, oh, you won't be able to. You'll be a powerful man. But now there's like a whole government and a legislature and whatever that you're going to have to answer to. He can't believe it. Quark can't believe what's happening here. This is something else. And then he's like, him and Brunt start praying to the divine treasury and the first Grand Nagus and all that for guidance coming out of this. Back to Cardassia, where we're back in the basement with Kira and Damar. And then Mila shows up from the market. She's like, yeah, they're saying all kinds of fun things about you. Like you're living in a mountain hideaway, or, Damar is not really dead. He's like done this or whatever. And Damar explains that they've been lied to so much by the government that, they're not going to believe it anyway.
He's becoming a martyr. This is fantastic for him.
Right. Yeah. He's becoming like a legend in a sense. And Garrick picks up on it. And they're like, we can use this, like, you're like the resistance might be wiped out, but we can build a new one, with new people, but with your, if people know you're alive. So this kind of all sets up what's coming next, with a little speech. Meanwhile, also on Cardassia with Wayoon here and the founder in like the Dominion headquarters, we meet the new guy who's replaced Damar as the head Cardassian. This is not the same Gull who betrayed them, is it? Like it seems like it's a different guy, but
I'm not sure. But I like this guy. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I wish he was. He's just such a sniveling toad.
He's such a collaborator. Yeah. He's here to just be like their token Cardassian on the council. Of course, the founder not too happy with him. She still loves the Breen though. The Breen are still very high up in regard. I never noticed that guy had a gold strip on his helmet before, but I guess that's how it goes. The 10 man. Who's the 10 man? Oh. Why are you the 10 man?
You tell
It's a
me.
10.
Actually, yeah, it's a 10. Why isn't it?
Oh, it's a 10. Okay, gotcha. Are you here to give us a 10 rating? No, don't spoil it.
I think I have a few 10s to catch up on.
You probably. So we're just at the part of the episode where we were meeting the new Cardassian guy, that new guy replacing him as Leggett. The founder.
Cannons to the left of me. Cannon to the right, written in a novel.
Yes.
You guys see the cannon?
Novel. Is it cannon with 2 ends or 1?
2 in the entire word.
Yeah. Basically, but they're in this meeting. They're talking about how they're going to pull back and fortify near Cardassia and kind of shorten their supply lines and hold on for their next offensive. Is the plan here? And then this new Cardassian guy's like, "But what about?" Hello, cat. What about all the Klingons and Romulans? They'll still attack us if the Federation pulls out of the fight. And William says, "Don't worry. Without the Federation, the Klingons and the Romulans, not a threat. We can take them on." And the founder,
I wouldn't take the Romulans too lightly, ever.
No.
No. Yeah, I don't think you want to be going head to head with them. So anyway,
And,
but
the Klingons have been kicking their ass for a while too.
yeah,
As
but
far as I can tell, the Federation hasn't been doing much.
the Klingons have taken massive casualties, probably the most of any of the groups.
The Klingons are like lemmings. Like you can trick them into destroying themselves pretty easily.
Right. It's for honor and glory.
Honor,
Yeah, exactly.
glory.
Yeah. You want honor? You better march into death against that
Getting
Jem'Hadar.
Stovacor, getting my sure of the afterlife visit,
Yeah, they never get enough, Whereas the Romulans, I think, are a little bit more selective when they're fighting. So then back to Deep Space Nine, where Quark he's still can't believe these changes in Ferengi society with the taxes and the social programs and all this other things that have been brought in. He's disgusted by it. Meanwhile, he's talking to Rom about all this, and Rom just wants to buy the bar from him. For what does he end up selling to him for?
5,000
bars? That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. It's his entire
he
life
was prepared to
savings.
go a lot higher, Dave. Though he was prepared to go higher.
No, he said not a penny more, or not a slip more.
He was ready to go. If his brother, if he had been negotiated with, he would have gone higher.
Yeah,
I don't think he
would
had
have
any
gone
more.
as high as 8,000.
8,000. Thank you, Kevin. I can remember the number.
But he
Oh,
doesn't.
really?
He's so
he does
distracted.
say that, doesn't he? Yeah, never mind.
But even before this, even before he got the news he was becoming Nagus, or he thought he was going to become Nagus, he was kind of distracted before that. He was willing to give tips to Lita, and he's like, "I've gone soft. I have to we have to protect our society. They're not even teaching the rules of acquisition anymore, Rom, in school. Like, what has happened to us?"
Mm-hmm. It's Moogie's fault.
It's all Moogie, So anyway, Quarks is pissed off here, and he's like, "This
that
is wrong."
scene, guys. Sorry, when he's talking about they don't do this in school anymore, and they don't teach that, and it sort of they don't say the Lord's Prayer in school anymore, or they don't
This far, no farther.
Yeah, exactly.
I won't preside over the demise of Ferengi civilization. Not me. The line has to be drawn here. This far, no further.
This is his Picard moment in the
Yeah.
Yeah. He even does like that Patrick Stewart thing. Throws it in there. Yeah, so I'm sure there was no coincidence that Quark is an old school conservative Ferengi in a world that's not so conservative anymore, rapidly changing. He's their society is changed so fast that Quark can't even keep up.
he wants to be an old school conservative Ferengi sort of in his mind, but he's not.
Yeah.
Quark was never really fit in on Ferengi.
Well, the kind of funny thing is, Davan, is that he never even this is not new news. This has been going on, obviously, and then it's a big surprise to him. So all this stuff going on back home is, already happened.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting to me that his mother and his brother are very, very much a different way from him, but then we're told that he is a lot like his mother in like the shrewd business sense and these other things. So I don't know,
did you guys know that he has such a great voice, he can project himself so well?
Armin? Yeah.
Well, he's a stage actor.
But you don't see it too.
You got to
often,
project.
so.
Not in that role, I guess.
It doesn't call for him to yell that often, right?
No.
So you're gonna yell against
just his Ferengi screech.
Yeah. He likes that kind of stuff. And then, in Lower Decks, we found out that, Ferenginar will eventually go on to become a Federation planet after, partly because of these reforms going on at this point, and then continued on by Rom and Lita, I guess, after, they take over. So.
Does that happen in that Lower Decks episode? Do they actually join the Federation in that episode? Okay.
Yeah. Or they're about
That's
to.
fine.
At least. Yeah. They're in the fold, man. They're in the
Someone
fold.
needs to run the books.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we know that the Bolians have commerce as well in their Federation world. So
They sort of are and sort of aren't. Some Bolians are.
Right. But Bolius is. The planet is, right?
No.
So, I don't know.
No, Bolius isn't. But some Bolians are. Yeah. There's a whole complicated thing. Like the Bank of Bolius is not Federation. And there's a lot going on. Bolius is weird in its relationship to Federation.
Maybe some Bolian colonists have become somehow Federation citizens. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, but they're the only other race I can think of in the Federation mix that really uses money in a significant way. Anyway, so on Cardassia, Garrick is like, I'm just a peaceful Cardassian walking across the street, minding my own business. Then he's stopped by these Jem'Hadar, who say, "Where are you going, Cardassian? This is your moment." Where I like how Kira, I'm sure she doesn't stand out on Cardassia with that hood on, even with a hood on. Right? Here she's going. Where everybody is gray, whether it's a Cardassian or a Jem'Hadar.
Even the Cardassian heart is gray.
Yeah, that's true. So Garrick or Damar like, "Oh, Jem'Hadar, who are you to talk to a Cardassian citizen like that?" And then this Cardassian's like, "Wait, are you Gul Damar? Aren't you?"
Am I about to be killed by Gul Damar?
Yeah,
Legate Damar, I guess, isn't he?
Legate Damar, I suppose he is. And then this whole fight breaks out. I think Kira shoots from the background, and a bomb goes off. This was all a planned demonstration. And we see these young, impressionable Cardassians who are inspired here by the great speech of Damar, who says, we have to come together here.
Citizens of Cardassia, hear me!
Hear me! We have to find freedom and overthrow the oppressors. Even though we used to be the oppressors,
His Braveheart moment.
This is it's such a
freedom. You can't yell freedom in any way without it being Braveheart. It's just been ruined
forever.
Yeah.
You don't have to hang on to the word for an extra 10 seconds though, like in Braveheart, where it's just stop saying freedom. Freedom.
And in the real William Wallace, he did say he whatever the Latin word for freedom is, that's what he actually yelled out. But in the movie they changed it to English. Anyway, so what if they had done that? Then maybe we would have been different. So then Esri on the station with Bashir in the turbolift. What can happen now? If they're just not going to do it, guys. They're not going to get together after all. After all this.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah. They're going to.
He is an overgrown child.
Mm-hmm. And then they're coming up here. They were not going to get it on, but they're smooching, guys.
Whoa. Smooching on the turbo lift.
Right, and they're in ops.
Full visibility. They don't care anymore. They're in it.
I mean, that's not even a turbo lift. They just have like an elevator that takes them on deep space.
This is like an old
like,
Skylab.
yeah,
like
it's a
it
Cardassian
would be a cage, you know? You could see right into it the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time. Yeah. I always get the impression that they go faster once they leave the deck, you know?
I don't know. Maybe. It's open, though. It's dangerous if it starts going real fast.
Yeah. You wouldn't. I know, but I if they go that slow the whole way down.
Makes you wonder how Odo got stuck in one.
Yeah. Maybe a force field?
Maybe.
Anyway, so there's this, I don't know, like they keep we always every time Ezri is making out or doing something with Bashir, we always have to look at Worf to get the reaction, like, you know, make sure he's okay. And then moving on from that, and then back with Quark in the bar as he's waiting for the Grand Nagus to show up, and he's gonna tell him off. He says, "I'm gonna turn down the job, and I'm gonna tell Zek what's what." And he's like, "I can't do this job if you won't let me do it my way." He's like, "Who wants to make you Grand Nagus?"
That was great.
I thought I was talking to Rom.
Oh, I thought I was talking to Rob. Oh no, not you. You know. And
You. You're like the last person we would choose other than Grunt.
You know, it's kind of a shocking moment. You know, this guy who is just, you know, working as an engineer in the Bajoran militia on the station, all of a sudden becomes the head of state of Ferenginar. You know, I guess, and there's no, I get the impression they have democracy in some level now, but I guess the Grand Nagus is different, where you just get to pass that on like a baton or a cane, if you will.
It's like the Klingon Emperor, right? They still have the Chancellor.
Yeah. It's not hereditary. It's just given, though. And yeah. Anyway, so Rom has made Grand Nagus. I don't know, guys. I never really loved this twist.
Oh, really?
No. I think Nog would have made a better choice.
Nog would have refused.
Probably. There's not.
100%.
There's no one else really. There's no other characters, but you know, I guess like Quark's too obvious and actually not suited for the job because he's, you know, probably too much of a throwback in terms of his how he is. But he's like, "You're gonna make Rom the Grand Nagus?" And Moogie's like, "You've always underestimated your brother."
I just love when Zek is like, he's not taking it very well.
Then later he's like, "Are you sure we picked the right brother?"
Yeah. And then
But
he's like,
says, "I know, Rom, you're perfect for this new shit for Ferenginar. You'll be perfect."
He's like, "Do you want? I guess you want your money back for the bar, right?" He goes, "No, you keep it."
Un-Nagus of him.
Oh yeah, I was like, "You're gonna keep 5,000 bars," but he's about to make a lot more money, I guess. So, that's the Grand Nagus, even in this reformed Ferenginar. And yeah, this is where Quark's like, "This will be the final beacon of the old Ferenginar. This is where things will be. Water down the drinks, rig the Dabo table, you know." Whatever. I like how he says, "Ring the Dabo table" just in front of everybody. We're rigging it. You want to play? He's still got
there's Impella.
Impella, that's her name.
It's his favorite.
Yeah, and this dress, man, she's wearing is something.
I have no problems with it.
How can you have a problem? But brave, I would say. Anyway, so cold. Not, you know, be careful, I guess, in how you sit down too. Anyway, so Rom is now he's Grand Nagus, and that's that.
He so awkwardly holds the stick.
Yeah, he's like, "I got the stick now. I got the cane." And then we got this meeting here with Admiral Ross, Chancellor Martok now, the Romulan dude, and Sisko. They're having like their war meeting. They're like, "Well, the Dominion has retreated inside of Cardassian space, and we can either, you know, hold off on the fighting, or we can go in now and take the offensive." And Martok's like, "You know, there are advantages to falling back where they can shorten their supply lines. We have to lengthen ours, and it is going to be costly and hard to go on the offensive." But basically, this debate is like, if we don't, and Sisko makes this point, he's like, if we don't, that they're going to go back into Cardassian space. They're going to become strong and come out even with more Jem'Hadar, more ships, more firepower, you know, and we have to stop them now. Klingon Empire. Yep.
Like one thing that I think they do well, because they don't show a lot of battling and fights and things, and I think Kevin's pretty happy about that. But what they do well is describing the scale. You know, when they said like 500,000 Cardassians died in one battle, or how many Klingon ships got, and in this one they're talking about losing thousands of ships, thousands
of
It's
people.
insane. It's absolutely insane.
And you know, for something where you can't picture the scale, I think they do a really good job describing it.
Yeah.
Like
But it's
millions of people are dying in this war.
Yes.
Millions and millions.
I wish they would show it, not just for the awe and spectacle, but I think it would give more gravity to this idea of the Federation holding onto this cure and what is sort of happening on, you know.
I can see what you're saying there. I just don't know if they could, you know, show the scale. Like that's the hard part
at that time because of the limitations and everything. So it's done in dialogue, but they're going on the offensive. You know, even if it's going to be costly, we have to attack now, because if we don't, we could actually lose the war just later on. So this is the time to go. You know,
and just like, you know, generals anywhere, I guess you're just condemning tens and tens of thousands of people to their deaths, and off they go.
Yeah,
That's
we
the
saw
job.
that. We saw Bill Ross was willing to, sell out that Romulan senator lady.
Did we see Bill Ross? I couldn't see him through that belt buckle.
Good old Bill Ross.
Quite the belt buckle.
So they're going on the offensive. So Sisko's getting ready for his big final battle, but then he checks in with Cassidy, who tells the news she's pregnant.
This is good stuff. This is great stuff here.
Well, Adam wasn't so into it. When I asked him,
I don't know what the point is, Davan. Like, so I mean, and not believe me, I don't know what's coming next week. So, yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm going to reserve my judgment. Like,
we shouldn't talk about it then.
I'll explain it to you later after you.
Right, but
it adds to things.
Cassidy is not too happy about this because she thinks that the warning from his pseudo mother, the prophet who went by Sarah Sisko, that this is the warning, that this is the great sorrow that he's going to face for choosing to marry Cassidy. Now they could have still had the baby even if they hadn't got married, but I don't know. I don't know if that was a thing, but maybe they wouldn't have stayed together if they hadn't got married or something like that. So anyway, and Cassie's like, what if the warning was about my baby? This is my baby. I had a baby with you.
This is great stuff by her. She's a great actress.
She is. She kills it in this performance.
Yeah.
And Avery Brooks directed this episode too, and he's in it a fair bit. So he's directing this scene.
Double duty.
Double duty. He's like, don't you worry about it. We're not only are we gonna stop this Dominion, we are going to stop any badness of the prophets. And we haven't checked in here with like Gul Dukat or Kai Wynn in a while. Don't worry, they're coming next week. But
do you guys like the prophets?
No.
Nah.
Yeah, I think that's
actually
the right answer.
Interestingly, we got a comment today about our review of The Reckoning, the episode The Reckoning from a few seasons back. And somebody was saying, like, I don't like these prophets, how they kind of use like the corporeal races as their chess pieces and make them
they use him.
Thing.
Certainly.
But like they used Kira, and whatever, and there's the Pa race who are just basically another faction of the same group, right?
Right, they used Jake in that battle.
They used Jake, and they're like, why would you put your son at risk? And he's like, I have faith that they're going to protect him. They're using you in their little civil war, is whatever.
That's what I like about the new comic series that stars Sisko. It really feels like a continuation, and he's getting real fed up with the prophets in that series.
I think we could have used a little bit more of that, but at this point, season 7 Sisko, he's fully in on this. Anyway, that is the end of the episode in terms of what happens. So anyway,
there is that time the prophets made all the Jem'Hadar ships disappear.
They did. And did they kill those people or just send them somewhere else?
I think they never buy from time. Never existed.
Yeah, in Star Trek Online, they come out of the wormhole like 30 years later, but that's not canon. And that
makes no sense. Unless they were just dining with the prophets the entire time.
Well, because the
prophets
are non-linear, they could transport them to any point in time, right? Just like how that other emissary guy came from the past. Who wasn't the emissary or whatever.
Nope.
So that's how Discovery's
just a poet.
End.
That's how Discovery's gonna end. They're just gonna go be with the prophets.
They're all gonna be murdered by the Jem'Hadar.
Oh, the Jem'Hadar just come out. The 30 seconds.
Tell me if that happens. I'm gonna watch that episode.
There's something coming out of the wormhole. We don't know what. It's like a fleet of Jem'Hadar ships.
And the Breen, who look just like the vampires from Buffy, just like every other alien in new Star Trek.
Yeah, well, they're flubber. No.
Yeah.
How about some fun facts? How about some?
Okay, so I went and found out about this ship, Dave, that you didn't want to see renamed, but so Sao Paulo.
You giving us some precedents on renamed ships?
No, I'm not. So for you, Davan, I was curious about why would they quote Patrick Henry on a Brazil. Okay, so the Sao Paulo's motto was "Give me liberty, give me death," a quote by Patrick Henry, as we know is the U.S. revolutionary in 1776. So the ship was actually named for the people of Brazil, but it's named for the people of Brazil, right? So the motto would be "Independence or Death," as the independence motto of Brazil. So I don't know who messed up here.
Yeah.
Did they say that was a Brazil saying in this?
Apparently, I need to fact check
it's on the plaque. Yeah, it says "Name for the people of Brazil," and I said, "Sorry, people of Brazil, you're not gonna have that anymore."
So is the Sao Paulo fall into a naming convention of the Defiant class ships that, like, other than the Defiant, are they all like cities?
I'm sorry, I didn't. I was more interested in how they got that on. I didn't really.
But the only other ship we know is the Valiant, right?
By name. So that makes no sense. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
So
they
maybe they don't
the
all
naming
have
convention.
They may not all ships have the same naming convention. Like
I guess so.
Some like obviously like the Enterprise is reused and certain names are used over and over again.
I don't mean names being used over and over again, but they fit a theme often.
Yeah, usually like there's a theme to a class, like a Galaxy class.
Like the way the runabouts are all rivers and
like that.
Yeah, the Galaxy classes, other than like the Enterprise and some other things, were named after other galaxies and whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right, well.
Okay, so this episode takes its title from the play Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. In Star Trek VI, the Undiscovered Country, General Chang quotes the same line. Dave, over to you.
I have it! And let's set the docks of war.
Yeah, this is the second episode in the 7th season with a title taken from a line from Shakespeare. The other one that was quoted by Chang. The other quote, with the other being "Once more under the breach." If you have that.
Oh, wasn't this one too?
Tickle us, do we not laugh? Prick us, do we not bleed?
Yes.
Wrong us, shall we not revenge?
But that wasn't. I think they're referring to Deep Space Nine here.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the translation. I'm coming out.
It's one of the best lines ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to beginning the final chapter, the writers had discussed the possibility of having Quark become the Grand Nagus. But as Ira Stephen Barrett later explained, that was wrong. Quark had to be in that bar at the end of the show. I felt that the audience needed continuity even more than whoever was going to run the station. Quark is in the center of the station, and I needed that center so we wouldn't make Quark the Grand Nagus. And I didn't feel we could leave Zek in the office because that would put him through all kinds of changes in the past few years. As such, it was decided to have Rom become the new Nagus. However, there was more to it than simply making him the new Nagus and then moving on. As Bear said, we had to figure out what would happen to Ferengi society that would enable Rom to become the Nagus. We were in love with the idea, but Rom wasn't up for being Nagus. The old Ferenginar, they need him alive. But to oversee a new Ferenginar, they had to have a compassion and a heart, and was trying to be more progressive. And Rom has those qualities. And Echeverria elaborated, to some extent, we laid the pipe in the direction that Moogie's influence had on the Nagus. The audience
that last name, I'm quite certain, is pronounced Echeverria.
Echeverria, thank you. Okay. To some extent, we laid some pipe that the direction that Moogie's influence had in the Nagus. The audience had accepted the leap Moogie had accomplished for females, So we figured out we'd make this leap too.
Moogie needs you.
I think he was right on all those points. That's why Ira Bear's the best, man.
I think
right.
the only other choice, if you had to not make it Zek by the end, would be Moogie herself. You make her like the first woman Grand Nagus.
What if it was Brunt? Would you like that?
No, I'd hate that.
Okay. He would love it.
I just don't know if Rom was the one. I think Rom had a good thing, in his life, and I just think this idea of him going from that station to,
But did he really have a place? He was just like another engineer in like the engineering crew. Like,
right.
He didn't really have a place,
It's just such a leap. It's such a leap from where he was to where he goes, So it's like
there's gonna be
Ren,
people of Ferenginar just shiting their pants. Like what?
Who is this guy? Like who is this guy? It seems like Quark's a little bit more famous, but I don't think Rom is.
Yeah, but not thought. People don't like Quark. I don't think. Ferenginar.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so originally after deciding that where were we? Okay, originally after deciding that Rom was to become Nagus, the first draft of the script had Quark wanting the job and not getting it. However, this was subsequently altered to him thinking that that he indeed had gotten the job, only subsequently realized he hasn't. In the original version, there was nothing new about Ferengi society, and when Quark turned down the job, Rom simply got it by default. I like this storyline better.
Mm-hmm.
The Sao Paulo was named after the ship Sao Paulo in the 1966 Robert Wise movie, The Sand Pebbles. Sisko's line, "Hello, ship," is an homage to Steve McQueen's salute to his new ship in that film. Hello, ship.
What a deep cut.
Do you think it was worth destroying the Defiant, Davan?
You mean the first Defiant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's stakes. You got to have stakes.
I would have not like them destroying that ship. Not for what?
Would I like them to destroy the Defiant? No, but am I glad they did? Sure. Do I want them to kill Jazian? No, but did some good things come from that?
It's the same
Sure.
thing. Where if you're going to destroy it, at least make it don't replace it with a new Defiant.
Well, they replace the Enterprise every time they crash them on a planet.
Not with an identical Galaxy class ship. They did actually.
Like you said, Dave, they did change the carpet.
They changed the carpet and the
So the reason the Defiant was
the entire shield
back,
matrix. The entire shield matrix is different, so it's not the exact same ship.
Not the exact same. Yeah, the reason the Defiant was essentially brought back after being destroyed, it was because it was felt to have that to have the final battle with the Dominion War without it seem preposterous, Dave. So that's why we needed it back.
Then don't destroy it in the first place.
Yeah, I guess.
They gave good drama in that episode and afterwards.
That episode is so quick where they destroy it. Where they're like, oh, we're going on a battle. Oh, we're destroyed, and then the founder could limit all of the escape pods, and she doesn't. And now here
they never do that in Star Trek though. The escape pods are usually always let to go away.
Usually the middle one gets destroyed. There's almost always three of them going towards a planet, and the middle one will get destroyed.
You take a couple of shots, the middle one's going to get hit. Is that what you're saying, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right, don't get in the middle one.
Don't get in the middle.
All right, Quark's speech about Ferengi values and how the line must be drawn here.
This far
is a deliberate tribute to Patrick Stewart in First Contact, of course.
What?
What?
In a deleted scene, Garrick, Damar, and Kira get drunk in Dayan's birthday basement. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been great.
Oh, what? Don't cut that out.
Have fewer scenes with Ezri and Bashir doing goo eyes at each other.
They're all lying around down there doing nothing. That would have been fun to watch.
See how they were killing the time down there. Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Other than cleaning up.
It's here.
Okay, so both Armin Shimmerim and Max, is it Grodenchik?
Grodenchik.
Yeah, hated the idea of making Rom the Negus without having mentioned the Ferengi society changes. They felt that this was somehow contextualizing how Rom could actually lead the Ferengi was preposterous. So Shimmerman said the decision was kind of akin to making Jake the head of the Federation.
Kind of, but every Ferengi male will love Lita.
Yeah, but
I mean, she's clothed.
I think that's accurate. I feel like it comes out of nowhere. It's just such a leap, and I feel like they had a long season here. I don't know when they decided they wanted to do this. I guess it was late that they decided they wanted to make Rom the Negus, but yeah.
I think the problem with that analogy you just made there is that Jake's mother isn't dating the current Grand Nagus.
It would be like if Jake became the president of Bajor or the first minister of Bajor, which maybe he will. He's pretty popular there.
Yeah, and that would be sort of believable.
Yeah, it would be actually.
So
while he wasn't happy about Rom becoming Grand Nagus, Shimmerman was happy that Quark didn't become Nagus, but instead stayed exactly where he was for the 7 years previously. Quark is the station. He is much part of that station as the carpets, the pylons, and the transporters. Everybody goes to Quark. Everybody deals with Quark. So there you go. He was very pleased with that.
If we hadn't checked in with the Grand Nagus at all, I don't think any of us would have noticed. Right? I don't think they had to do this, but I think
it was a lot less about the Nagus and more about Rom and giving him a resting spot at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But with Quark, it's perfect too, because it's like he didn't gain anything. There were 7 seasons and he's still where he started basically, and that's perfect because Shimmerman played that character for tragedy the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Shimmerman goes on. I've seen various characters go through major arcs and changes over the years. Other characters that started in one place in the first episode and were in totally different places at the end of 7 years. So I was concerned a few episodes before that we ended that Quark really hadn't changed in the 7 years. But when they presented me with a script for the Dogs of War, I was shocked to see how much of the character had changed. And I was delighted to see that it hadn't happened while I wasn't looking. I was happy about that. So all in all, he's happy. He's a happy guy. He finished the show in a good place.
He's happy.
And I'm going to leave it there. I think that was a lot of good ones for this episode.
Thank you, Adam. Let's get into our. Did I put the ratings ticker on? Didn't I?
Yeah.
Fun fact. That's what Jody was talking about. I was like, I turned the ticker on, but I didn't actually read what it said. So let's leave it up there.
With Adam. There you go.
Yeah. I still have to make that a song. Okay, let's get into it.
I'm on it.
We are pretty small here. Let's get it. Okay. Well, Davan, we have quite a few scores.
All right, let me catch up.
Let's start with you. You haven't. Quite a few you've missed. Since the Emperor's New Cloak, you gave a 0 to. Now, a couple of these you gave it to us in the comments, but Field of Fire you haven't rated. Chimera.
I'll give Field of Fire a 6. You guys are pretty on point with that one. Chimera, isn't that Laws?
Laws.
Oh. 6.
Yeah. And then Till Death Do Us Part is
now they get good. Till Death Do Us Part, I'll give that an 8.
Isn't that where they destroy the Defiant?
Yeah, I think so. Comes back pretty quick, that's for sure.
Never gonna let it go. It's been 25 years.
When it rains, I'll give it 10. In extreme measures, a 10. It's been the last sprint to the end is awesome in this series.
Okay, so Jody's already given us an 8.5. So for this episode, I give this. Geez, okay, like if it wasn't for this Ezri Bashir stuff,
it wasn't pretty that high. Much of it.
It's too much. Too much.
The worst part about this episode was the belt buckle.
The worst part was probably the twist with Rom for me, but I don't hate it. I just don't love it. So I'm gonna go 8.5. It's pretty good. All right, Adam, you're up.
Yeah, mine is 9, and again, I would have given it a 10 except for Ezri and Bashir.
I think the main characters, you got to have them do something.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I wish they had.
Could have been a scene in the basement of them getting drunk. That would have been much better.
Yeah, we were robbed of that. So, all right,
the will they won't they is a bit excessive. I agree.
Kevin,
9. I think it's the same as last week.
And Davan, this is a 10.
Oh yeah.
The 10 man.
I love this final sprint. Like it's kind of all one episode to me. These last 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And they're all just awesome.
Yeah, you're consistently the highest on season 7.
I'm not as down on Esri as you guys.
It's how they use her is more so than the character. So we're averaging a 9 tonight. IMDb now, unlike with our Discovery ratings where we only have 1 day, this is a 25
the Discovery
years.
ratings aren't even in the same. It's not even the same mathematics being used. It's like I got so much to say about your Discovery ratings that like,
you don't. But you always know that. I'm like, you haven't even watched the episode, so how can you question my rating?
Because I've gone back and looked at the numbers, Dave. According to your numbers, your favorite season of any Star Trek, or no, 3 of your favorite seasons of top 5 seasons of any Star Trek are Discovery seasons. And the way you talk about it, that doesn't jive. Like I don't think that matches up. Go back and look at the numbers.
Season 3, I have a very high rating on.
Yeah, like higher than like every DS9 season. Like, there's no way you like that season better.
There's fewer
than every
episodes
DS9
too.
Season. True, but I smell shenanigans. I smell internet pressure.
You're the one,
and we're above that here.
You're the one who, every time we did an Enterprise rating, you're like, "Oh, I can't rate this the same as I would rate a Deep Space Nine episode."
Yeah, but hold on, Davan. If you went back and looked at like ratios of the 26 Deep Space Nine episodes or whatever it is
per season,
and your 10 or 12 or whatever it is Discovery, I think you have to look at it a little differently. I mean, they're cramming a lot in there. And by the way, Discovery, Picard, they all looked a lot better. Strange New Worlds.
Yeah,
but that's just like
technology.
My overall in the entire run of the show, we're almost done all 178 episodes of Deep Space Nine here. We're up to 176. My average is 7.8, so I'm almost at an 8 out of 10. My average rating on Discovery, 7.1. So so maybe there might be a season that might be higher on Discovery, but
I think that's because you were really.
Dave will tell you what he thinks of season 1 all the time, all day long.
Of Discovery?
Yeah.
I thought that was the best.
Much
season.
to Ashley's chagrin when I bring up, or especially season 2, when I talk about
in season 1 and 2,
I don't care. I care less for season 2 than 1. So
season 2 was the worst. That's what lost the show for me.
So I think that's part of the reason my season 3 ratings are high on Discovery, because we were coming out of such of a bad time.
It was season 2 of Discovery that made me realize that the writers of Discovery don't remember what they wrote 2 weeks before. Like it's so hard to follow. And I was falling asleep during a lot of the episodes, but oh man, no! Season 2 was a disaster, and that whole Red Angel thing was just
that's what I didn't like either about it. Awful. Like I liked Pike. I think he was the best part of season 2. But,
we got Pike out of season 2. That was like
that was good. But like all of like the heartfelt, emotional conversations between Spock and Michael Burnham, I didn't need any of that. I didn't need like Amanda Grayson and it was just like because it's a prequel, but it was a prequel trying to mess with characters I already know pretty well, and I'm like, why are you doing this? So, and retconning all of it. So,
and not for the better.
Jody's calling shade. A 10 from Davan. What a surprise! But
I'm withholding my judgment on this Breen thing, even though I think their human form is the generic trash. The whole other thing is kind of interesting, and we'll see where that goes.
The what, like their flubber form?
The flubber, yeah. We'll see about the flubber.
They did explain it. So, okay, guys. Well, that's it for, I think, this episode. So next week we'll cover both parts of What We Left Behind, part 1 and 2. Is that what it's called? Sometimes I confuse it with the documentary. The next episode is called...
Oh, yeah, they are called the same thing, aren't they?
It's called What You Leave Behind is the finale. What We Left Behind is the documentary. Right. So
that's clever.
What You Leave Behind, part 1 and 2 will be we're wrapping it up, guys. 4 years later, and it's almost over. Can you believe it?
Best show ever put to TV, other than perhaps X-Men '97. We'll see. Give that a few more seasons.
I've watched the
so good, wasn't it?
You said it was really good. I wait for your reviews, Davan. I have to.
Oh, of course.
Of course, yes, and yes, Jody, we are starting the Orville review show as we wrap up this Deep Space Nine one coming here. Davan's excited for it. He's
come on, Davan. Penny Johnson.
Yeah, Penny Johnson, who you say you love.
I do, and I love Norm Macdonald too.
Norm Macdonald.
That doesn't mean I love the Orville.
And
like it's measuring my love for Penny Johnson and Norm Macdonald versus my strong distaste for Seth MacFarlane.
I know, but
So it's
you know, I hope love will prevail. That's what I'm hoping. So X-Men 97 has been amazing.
Yeah, so good, breathtaking.
Okay,
good.
Yeah, and then also Star Trek, guys. The Next Generation is also coming at us in a few weeks. We're starting that, but Counter at Farpoint will be the premiere.
That reminds me, I got to get you a theme song for that.
Yeah, you do. So let's get that going. But we got the four of us, and I think we'll have a bigger panel because it's the premiere. I was watching it the other day at Counter the Farpoint. I'm like, this is bizarre, but
so
you know,
like it makes more sense later when you find out that it was actually 2 episodes they just kind of shoved together
and 2 writers they shoved together, right?
Because it feels like it.
Yeah, like when is Riker gonna get in here anyway?
And does anyone care about Groppler Zorn? I know I don't.
Well, what about the ship separating too?
Yeah,
why are we on that?
Yeah,
like, why are we
amazing.
separating the ship for 25 minutes?
Can't wait to talk about all that.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be fun.
Could have been a one-parter.
Could have been a no-parter.
It's like it plays like a movie on when you watch it.
It's like they watch the motion picture and how can we do that
again?
But there's
we capture that magic.
The conversation that like Data and Picard have early is like that's very much how they'll do it forever, right? You know, like so there are some things in that premiere that are consistent with what they kept, right? Like throughout the whole show. And beyond. So, I'm looking forward to talking about that with you guys in a few weeks. And we have to wrap up this one. Deep Space Nine, we'll have the finale, and then we're going to do sort of like a retrospective, the whole culmination of the 4 years.
As a separate episode?
It's a separate podcast, yeah. So that's the
count
plan,
me in.
We'll be bringing in a lot of guests for that one, including maybe Jason Doan and some others who were early podcasters in this 4 years that we've been doing this. Anyway, so Discovery, Adam, we're talking about it on Thursday. Are you excited?
Be here. Yeah, I'm going to watch last week's tonight, and I'll have
you haven't watched the previous episode yet. Okay, and get your score. So we'll be checking in on Thursday there. What else is going on in Live Long and Podcast World? We got any?
Yeah, we got to launch some probes on Friday.
Oh, we got probes coming.
Yeah, we got some probes.
Probes
over there in the science division. We're going to launch ourselves some probes and try to come to some consensus on some hot topics in the Star Trek universe.
Very cool. Also, check out our affiliate channels under the banner of the United Federation of Podcasts, including the X-Men 97 with Davan and Andre every Tuesday. Talk about X-Men 97 and all the X-Men, the animated show before that.
It's hot. It's a hot show. Get it while it's hot.
Get it hot. Get it hot. Hot takes.
Get your sweet merch.
There's also good graphic histories, all kinds of great audio podcasts and interviews with many various interesting people.
An interview with Isabel Burke dropped today. Check that out. Fantastic artist. You got to check out her art. It's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, and then we also got Hold Up, where you guys just I think recently did your bicycle movie podcast.
Yep. Yeah, 2 of those movies were good.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes. Whatever movie Murphy picks is usually like a 50-50 chance.
It was a good one. I liked Premium Rush, actually.
Yeah, sometimes he picks a good one. But he does this thing where he picks movies he's never seen before, and so you don't really know what you're getting.
Well, he's done
that to me
supposed to do. That was like the thing of the podcast when we started. We're like, we'll pick movies we haven't seen for the most part. But we kind of have fallen out of that a bit. I'd actually like to get back to picking unknown movies more. But
yeah, I like movies I know.
Adam's up next.
I am.
Oh, looking forward to that.
2 of the 3. I haven't seen 2 of the 3 movies. So.
We're changing the title of that one, Murphy said, because it's all about movies about boyhood. We're changing it to boyhood and rather than childhood, and then we'll do a girlhood episode later on.
Okay. Hey, did you see this one? And also a Federation podcast, also about movies. They cover all kinds of great movies and deep dive into all that with Jason and Steven. And then Trivial
Sometimes
Debates.
really obscure movies off of YouTube.
all kinds of things. Like
They do all kinds of stuff.
they go down rabbit holes with movies.
They do,
So
yeah.
you can check out them. And Eamon Mader doing his music podcast. I think Jaemeel Robinson will be his next guest. And
I was wondering what was coming up there.
on the Super Mader Brothers podcast, check it out. We'll be on Thursday or Wednesday. We'll be talking about the next episode of Survivor. We're almost to the finale. Counter at Farpoint is still better than Star Trek the motion picture. Well, yeah, of course.
Oh
it
yeah.
is. Yeah, like
Is it?
no. Yes,
Yes.
Is it?
Like,
Okay.
unquestionably. Have you watched the motion picture recently? Like
More
it's
recently
horrendous.
than the Encounter at Farpoint, actually.
It's
Yeah.
horrendously bad. But yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah. It's boring.
it's so
Motion
boring.
pictures.
It's like an hour longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, it's such.
But
it's
the Encounter at Farpoint, it's kind of annoying.
more,
like,
but you know, it's
sometimes.
got Q, it's got Delancey, it's got some things
Yeah.
like you
It
know,
does,
it
it does.
you know, it's still good. Yeah, the Voyager of it all. Okay, well, I think those are all the plugs, all the rundowns. You know, and I just want some freedom, everybody. How about you? You sell it to me, Damar.
I call on Cardassians everywhere to rise up. Freedom is ours for the taking.
Horrible, horrible freedom. That's what the ants would say on The Simpsons.
See you next time, everyone.
Now let's get out of here.